Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the CVCI, brought to you by the Cyberathlete Private Limited, whom of which have been trademarked since 1997. Today we're going to be having the lower brackets and then the upper brackets later on in the evening. BU Esports versus KU Esports, both Thai teams, and the likes of which should be an interesting game to say the least. Expecting some good players coming out from the Thai teams, as well, both these teams, well, the Thai team in general, Thai scene in general rather, they're some of the best in the industry. They're some of the players are consistently on top of the Southeast Asian market, and so you can expect them to have a really good performance going into these games. Obviously, the names, you've seen them over the past couple of weeks, but you're seeing us for the first time in a while. So hello, my name is Jaeger, of course, joined by Zayora, and we're going to be your casters for the entirety of the brackets today. We've got you, family.
That is true, and again, as what Jaeger says, we're having Thailand teams battle it out for this specific bracket. We have the Esports and KU Esports. I'm pretty excited how things are going to pan out right here.
That's right, and just a little bit extra information for you guys on Cyberathlete, as I'm sure you guys want to support this this league that have been, of course, bringing you some of the best Valorant action that you can anticipate from this region. The Cyberathlete Professional League and Cyberathlete Original Gamers are divisions of the CPL properties, and Cyberathlete Valorant Collegiate Invitational is a tournament produced by the private limited company Cyberathlete with permission from Riot Games. So they went straight to the men themselves, and the CVCI is the biggest college-based tournament to date in Southeast Asia and has provided opportunities to college teams and clubs from 8 country partners in 8 territories. So plenty of opportunities going around for all these countries here, all thanks to Cyberathlete. So thank you to you guys for making this tournament possible. Running through the teams at the moment from BU Esports and KU Esports, a couple of names that you've seen before: Bozo, Cog, Queen, Tay, and Thidicorn. And for KU Sports, it's 56, Dash, Foxu, Humble, Lol, and Sickman, Senorita. Not sure which players they're going to be running going into this map. I'm guessing it depends on the map picks, which we're still waiting for. The map picks will be coming up shortly, so you guys will be able to see exactly where we're heading. From what I've seen most recently, it has been Thai teams doing really well on maps like Split, on maps like Haven, and did I hear a first map coming up?
Which is... Oh, it's going to be Bind.
Okay, there you go. So Bind, in terms of what to expect for agent picks going into Bind, I'm feeling like we're going to be seeing a Sage, obviously one of the most viable characters, one of the most viable agents on Bind. You can have yourself a Killjoy most likely in that B site, the Omen, of course, a necessary pick, the Jet for the AWPer, and perhaps a Raze, perhaps a Reyna, perhaps a Phoenix, perhaps a Breach, depending on how they like to play, if they play with flashes or they just play information, perhaps a Sova. That 5th spot is always the most interchangeable when you're looking at Bind.
Of course. I mean, I'm pretty sure that both of our teams are not going to have any cheeky picks specifically for this bracket, because you would really want to secure your spot as much as possible, and to really do that, you have to utilize each and every hero, or agent rather, that you could use to its maximum potentials. And I think, yeah, you basically said what's to be expected here for Bind specifically, since this technically this map doesn't necessarily have that middle side. We're basically having it on A short and onto marketplace. That's where we depended on, since this map is also quite complex, considering that they have these teleports or portals to use with. And yeah, basically getting hold of the sites is could be in the pace of attackers if they go push and aggressively. For the side of defenders, I think they'd have the luxury to just take their time and wait for some potential retakes. Or depends again on the situation.
That's right. Remember, this is a $25,000 prize pool, so there's a lot on the line for these teams, and they definitely want to be playing to the best of their strengths. Obviously, if you guys want to know who picked this first map, it was BU Esports that picked Bind. KU Esports chose to start on the defender side, so BU Esports will be starting on the attacker side. It's their map pick. They should have an attack plan going into this map. As for map number 2 and number 3, we'll update you as soon as they come up, and we'll be starting very shortly. So just stick around for that. Yeah, I mean, both these teams, I feel like they're gonna have a good it's gonna be a good performance here on Bind. Bozo and Queen, two of the players to look out for the side of BU Esports. And as for KU, Dash Jr. and Humble 2K. Humble, he's not just played in this tournament before. I've seen him in a few others. So he's got a bit of information. He's got a bit of experience under his belt. So should be expecting to see the good players coming in from your Thai teams. And as they said, is bind. You got the teleporters. You don't have a single mid. So in terms of mid control, you got two mids to look out for, which is basically A short and B short. And it can be a complicated map. Obviously, you can get off to a really good start on that attacker side if you know how to deal with utility coming in from that A side. If you know how to take map control, especially if Sage walls up that mid, you want to take that wall down straight away so that they're kept guessing as to where you might be going. Because as much as possible, you're on the defender side, you just want to try and limit the options, right, as much as possible, and use your utility to push them back, let the time run low, and then when it comes time for the spike plant, you've already done a lot of damage. They're rushing to get into the site because you run out of time. That's basically what you want to be doing here. Hopefully we get to see that from these collegiate teams. Obviously, they're not pro teams with boot camps and you know, huge budgets behind them to get psychologists and whatever else. So these guys, they're really youths playing for the opportunity to have that kind of an experience when they're older, or rather when they've graduated. They may get noticed here and now. This could be their starting line. So please do support your teams and make sure that their voices are heard, as well as the rest of the Valorant scene in Southeast Asia. We won't be left behind again in the FPS scene. Never again.
You never know that when we will be seeing the next big star here on Valorant maybe will be coming from our collegiate team, since they are young bloods, as you mentioned, and the fact that they are able to balance both work and play, it's something to take interest as well. Of course, we also have to take note on how these teams set themselves up depending on which role they have for the first half. And it's pretty interesting because since they are new, or these are fresh faces too, considering the fact that we have a lot of strategies to see for a later date. But this is going to be the tournament bracket for CVCI.
And you can see the brackets at the bottom. These are the lower bracket finals, and so you know you're gonna not finals, the lower bracket semis. So yeah, you're going to be seeing that right there at the bottom of the screen. You'll also be having later on the Taiwanese team versus the Indonesian team, Storm Team versus Emerald. That's going to be Indonesia and Taiwan. That's actually a really good lineup to watch, because Indonesian FPS has been at the top of Southeast Asia for just the longest time. Taiwan, they sometimes get their showings, but they really haven't had the opportunity to shine. Only it's Hong Kong doing well, or it's the likes of Malaysia or Singapore. So Taiwan getting up there is a really good result for their country, and hopefully that'll be a good match. But here you go, you can see the exact line that these two teams have taken, KU and BU. They've beat out Malaysian teams, Indonesian teams, Singaporean teams, who have consistently been better than Thai teams. So that's a really good result for both of these guys as well. But unfortunately, you can't have two Thai teams in the final, it seems, as they will be going head to head.
Of course, and again, this is the respective teams that will be battling out for this match today. We have Esports, Bozo, Lamy, Queen, Tay, and Bitcoin. And for KU Esports, we have D6, Dash Junior, Foxu, Humble 2K, and Valorant for the first round of
So there you go, and we're going to be seeing their Asian picks very shortly. Love this little map teaser at the very start to show you guys the teams and their brilliant logos as well. Always nice to see colleges supporting their teams and providing opportunities.
This is actually nice. It's like we're really in this is an actual place, you know, with all of these fans and all of these
Yeah.
drone shot at this point. So yeah,
I wouldn't mind going shopping there, not gonna lie.
at least they have already an idea to what fine looks like for those who are new into actually seeing Valorant or new in playing the game. So this is actually a nice sneak peek of our...
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point, because there may be people here that are just supporting their schoolmates that don't play Valorant, that are now starting to realize, you know, what the map is expected to look like and whatever else. And so, yeah, that's actually a really good point. So yeah, this is bind. You get two longs, you get two shorts. That means that you've got two ways into both of these sites. There are as well teleporters that you can go from A to B and B to A. That map goes across from A mid to B mid, and as well as B long to A long. And so map control, it can be important here, but really when you're on the defender's side, playing passive is generally the name of the game, unless you have a team that are very negligent and don't check for flanks, in which case, if you have a good flank, such as an Omen main, of course, they can always do such a good job from behind. You do want to have a duelist in general, but some people can make it work. I've seen people make it work, and so do keep that in mind. A duelist means it's the players that are basically self-sufficient. They're the first ones in. They're the agents that are trying to do the most damage as much as possible. Most of their skills are to make room for the team or for self-sustaining, trying to survive for as long as possible. You've got your controllers to make sure that you're walling off parts of the map and giving yourself a bit more space to work with. And you've got the initiators, which are basically your assistants to get into those sites, flashing and the likes, and information gathering, such as a Sova. And of course, you got the Sentinels, which are, as you say, Sentinels.
Why is it that when it comes to Sentinels, you don't have much to say, huh?
Well, it should be self-explanatory. A Sentinel is someone that is a Sentinel.
I'm a bit off by your reaction when it comes to Sentinels here, the fact that it is one of my main roles. But going back, Sentinels also play an important role, especially.
True. Absolutely.
I'm trying to mend my broken heart, but it is what it is as you speak. And yes, of course, usually the duelists are the entry frags, especially when you're trying to take control of the site. Take note, however, that there is also the showers area, wherein I can't say that it's sometimes neglected, but it can be used situationally, especially if you want to really destroy a current momentum that your opposing team has. That could be one of these sites that you can utilize and work with. But you have to take note that it doesn't really work as frequent as it is. So you using that specific side of the map, you have to place it in a proper time. And of course, basically trying to destroy momentum is also key. And yeah, a lot of spaces to work with here in this specific map. The reason why I don't like it personally, but you know what? They chose this map, so I guess it's a good time for me to be proven wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
it.
If you notice, almost every single entry into either of the sites is a chokehold. If you enter through showers, it's a small door that you have to push through, and to make space, you need that Omen to put a smoke down so that you're covered from heaven. If you go in from short, you can get crossfired basically from within the site and from U-Haul, which are both facing in a crossfire position towards that short position. Hookah, you have to jump through a window to make your way out, which again, that's another position where you can easily get shut down from elbow, you can get shut down from spawn or from backside. And then of course, there's B-Long, which is probably the most open entry into any of the sites. And which also gives you the opportunity to rotate as well. Always good to see. But it's also again very situational. A single smoke will disrupt all of your knowledge from that B-Long position. So every single entry, it's a deep chokehold, and you got 5 players to protect 4 entries. It's not too bad a deal if you're on the defender side. For the attacker side, you need to be creative, make that space. You got 3 smokers for the side of BU Esports right now. You got the Omen, the Jet, and you've got the Cypher who's got the cage to work with. A single flash in the hands of Bozo's Reyna, and the information game together by Sova.
So this is going to be a 4 duelist setup for the side of K Esports. Pretty interesting. Okay, this is the thing. To me personally, I think 3 duelists can work, plus I guess 1 controller and 1 sentinel for your team. But having 4 duelists is a bit tricky, especially you don't have a certain type of skills or kits to work with, especially when trying to really control the site, and as well as going for retakes. But I guess they have their options wide here for the side of K Esports. However, for BU Esports, they're pretty fundamental in terms of the lineup. As you mentioned, they have a lot of ways to work in terms of their utilities here with the Omen Cypher and the Sova. Basically, the Sova is going to use this to recon bolt into a specific site, getting informations first. I guess their plan here is to at least take down 1 or 2 members of the defenders before actually committing it to a site.
Yeah, as you said, that 4 duelist lineup, I mean, basically they've tried to make up for the fact that they don't have any heals to work with, and they have a lack of defense, not having the initiators or the controllers or sentinels, and so they have two agents basically that can heal themselves. That's going to be the Reyna and the Phoenix. Everyone else, it's basically you have to survive for yourselves. 4 duelists, it's ambitious, especially because they're starting on the defender side. So let's see how they do in this initial defense, because they got the smokes in the Jet and they got the smokes in the Omen, but I feel like BU Esports, they're gonna have a much better time once they switch sides.
And yeah, as you mentioned here, lack of defense, and look at this, they are already crowded into B long here. This is a good starting for the side of BU Esports here. So Senorita is going to reposition himself here onto the elbow side, trying to get these hot hands here to at least delay the push of our attackers here. But looking at this, they just made some noise onto B long, now proceeding to showers here, which is totally free of defenders. Will be going for the plant, I guess, on triple. But look at this, the Omen was able to stop the Queen here in time, evening the odds out.
Well, down goes the spike, and now post plant positions for the side of BU Esports, and they have basically set up the perfect agent lineup for the defense, as it will be Bozo finding the first kill and the second, and just like that, it's a 2 versus 4. Make that 1 versus 4, as Tay will be taking down Lol, and you're looking at the first round on the board for BU Esports. Keep in mind, it's their map pick. They should be feeling confident.
Indeed, and of course, as well as the lineup, I'm looking pretty. I'm having this confidence for the side of BU Esports here, since they have a lot of smokes to work with, and the fact that they are able to just play around from B long all the way going in to rotating using the portals from B long to A showers, and it's just pretty commendable here, because they were pretty quick and they just basically baited out our defenders to rotate onto B before making their move towards A, which was completely free. And I think our defenders have to take note of that. So they will be doing a similar strategy onto what they did during round 1, since why fix something that isn't really broken into your party?
That's right, and while the kills are already starting to come in for the side of BU Esports, they push in towards this B site, and this is basically what you expect to see. You're going up against pistols. This shotgun might find some damage though, as it will find a first and a second, but it will be Thitticorn, to get the refrag.
Which is nice with the other shotgun, but of course Queen is going to deny that fact, and numbers are in the hands of our attackers here. We'll be having that next round.
Yeah, just pure face value there. Just straight into that B site, don't need to mess about too much with the utility. It was just basically finding those kills onto those pistols. You had the advantage, but now we're seeing KU Esports buying up the rifles, managing their economy quite well. I think the Omen should be able to buy too much, although I can actually see a Phantom in his hands. And so, despite buying that Bucky, not going to be a big problem. As for the side of BU Esports, they're still in that bonus round. They still have a couple of weapons carried over, so they'll be able to buy into the next round, as they have plenty still left to work with. And now, it looks like it's going to be presence over towards the A site. They do have 2 players watching towards mid and towards long, which is a really great setup.
I agree with you in terms of the great setup, because this is also the magic of this specific map. They have a lot of verticality to work with, and also for the defenders to really play into their setups here. So look at this. The Jet was able to take the Omen down, who's supposed to be initially the flank of the attackers here, but Queen is going to deny that fact, making it a 2 versus 2 for that fact, taking a triple down there. And look at this, Jet is waiting onto you, Hall boosted herself up, goes down. What camera was able to spot her out. Now this is a good opportunity. Ooh, that was a close call for the Sova. That right there goes into you. Hall will probably just go wait. And ooh, they are able to spot out the Reyna here onto Heaven. So they might go for this rotate right here. One is going to get that spike onto B site most likely, and the Cypher will be able to see lower, and that's going to be a quad. Beautiful for the Cypher. This is a lot of space now for our attackers to go and rotate onto B, but the Jet is onto their tails right now. They already have an idea that they came from the spawn site of the defenders here. So going in towards elbow. Let's see how this goes for the Jet. The 1v2 clutch can do it, but this is a bit tricky for the attackers since they are together. But this is also good since they can go for refrags.
That's right. I mean, you're playing in a 2 versus 1. You should be baiting out there, and there it is. Queen will bait himself for that win. It will be Lamy finding the kill, but it takes every single member to scrounge together that 3rd round, and they'll be able to buy into this round. They got the win. They had money in the bank already, and unfortunately, that's going to reset KU Esports.
And again, they have to really work with their setups at this point for the side of our defenders here, because the mind games can go really well for our attackers, since they managed to work with all of their pushes with our first 3 rounds. So anything they can play along with any of the styles that they did during those times. For the side of KU Esports here, they have to work on their setup at the same time, not too as aggressive as much. But at the same time, here for the first 3 rounds, they are holding it a bit too much. So I think they could go a bit aggressively for this round. Look at this lull with the shotgun here. Takes 1, goes for the dash, and looking at this, Digicon was able to get a double there, as well as the Jet going in for the trade. But this is a 3 versus 4 fight. Bozo here will be taking the raid onto Hookah. Oh, the classic, but not going to be enough to take down the Reyna here. So Tay is going to take down the clone, and look at this. 56 on 2 tin can is not enough with the stinger. That is also a weapon difference here for the side, for both of our sides here. And then that is another point for BU Esports.
There you go, and BU Esports off to a really good start here, 4-0 on their attacker side, and they're not even playing with duelists, right? They've got a single duelist, or 2 duelists, and everyone else really are your meta picks. As you're looking at KU Esports, this 4 duelist lineup has yet to receive too many results, and so I'm not sure what I expect to see. I should be seeing a lot more utility being used to try and defend from these pushes coming in from BU Esports, as Foxes and Humble both finding the first 2 kills, and that will be BU Esports immediately on the back foot. And so really, we're not seeing utility be used that much to find these kills. Instead, it's just straight up aim duels happening early on. And this time it's KU Esports to get that early advantage.
This is good, since KU Esports was able to take 2, as you mentioned, and they can work with this numbers advantage here. Lear is going to be used, but was taken down early by our attackers. So they're making some noise over here on TP. They might be going for the movement right here. Senorita for the flash into the garden. Was able to spot out Silva here. Gonna get that, and low for another trade here. That was just good refrag for both the duelists there. So we're starting to see not just aim duels, but their utilities here, specifically for both the Arena and the Phoenix.
Yeah, that was brilliant coming in from the side of KU Esports, and right time cover from the teammate Reyna, obviously. And so, yeah, well played there for KU Esports. They obviously have a couple more rounds left in them. But let's see, how do BU Esports now respond to that? Will they be going for that same kind of a play, losing players so early on yet again? Will they now adapt? Will this be them changing things up? And as we can see, a little bit of a change up, as Humble 2K will be going down first, as Queens claims that kill for himself. 56 there for the refrag, and now it's a 4 versus 4 with a push through the bathrooms. We'll see how successful this can be.
Again, this is where I did mention earlier that they can utilize the showers area here, but look at this. Because they were able to even out the odds right here, the pushing wasn't as aggressive as it wasn't as fast as they initially thought. But you know what? It works well, as the Silva will be taking down 56 here. Hunter's Fury as well, to at least push or shove away the other members of the defenders. And look at this. They're now rotating quite far off right here. So Cypher will be watching the flank onto the cave, and the other 3 members will be going towards short. But look at this. Bozo is able to take down the Jet. So they may be just, this Bozo will be just making noise here onto A while they create space for the other members to go and rotate, which is what they're doing right now. If you see the minimap real quick,
30 seconds left.
It's the Cypher and the Omen onto B long, both in the hookah. It's a free take for our attackers here. And this is a signal, so their post plant is definitely going to be good for their side.
Spike planted.
Yeah, I mean, 2 versus 4 post plant, it's not easy to do. If they can set up themselves a couple of crossfires, obviously, KU Esports, I mean, they can't really go for this at that point, the 2 versus 4, and so
Save. They
Yep,
will
gonna
never
be the
get-
1-5. They've given that round straight back. But the good thing is they keep 2 players alive. Perhaps can drop over another chance for another round here on the defender side. They want to get as many defender side rounds as they possibly can, because once they switch over to that attacker side, they should have that much more of an advantage. They've got 4 duelists to work with. They need to have the advantage on this defender side. Obviously at a deficit, so do as much damage as you can, because for sure BU Esports are going to have a stellar defender
Look
side.
at Omen. Look at Omen. Onto the U-hole there. Phoenix was able to get him down, at least in the nick of time. And yeah, as you mentioned, this going for the save is also a good choice for our defenders here, since they do lack in terms of economy. At the same time, they only had 1 round in their hands, so at least getting a decent amount of weaponry is also important for them at this point. So for the side of BU Esports, they just basically have the momentum for the past 6 rounds, and if they continue doing that, I think they can work this out really, and having this huge amount of space in terms of points that they can work with come our second half.
And there you go. And so looking in towards round number 6. And again, I do like the setup coming in from the side of BU Esports. They're playing it very safe, making sure there's only 1 player watching that lurk, and letting it be the Cypher. That's an even better choice, right? You got tripwires, you got cages to escape, you got your camera. So much information to be gathered, but BU Esports, they seem to have a bit of a tell. It's kind of obvious they're going towards this B site. There's no presence from either towards mid or towards showers. And so they've called this right. 4 players over towards the B site. Thittercorn will be finding the kill on Senorita as a refrag. As right now it's a 3 vs 4, but make that a 3 vs 3 as Foxes spots the 1 player. And now they should know this is going to be a B site hit, but Bozo has snuck around behind.
Alright, so this is another clear B take for the side of BU Esports, but the odds in taking this clutch for the side of defenders is possible, since this is a 2 vs 2 fight. The Jet is on operator here. Gonna go and heal, but pretty sure. But look at this, Bozo was able to wall bang 56 onto Hooker right here. Was able to spot the Jet here, but the Jet is going to snipe away Bozo, so this is a 1 vs 1 fight. At least the Sova now has an idea that the Jet is on operator, so goes into the tin cans right here, fakes the fuse, wrong way, and look at the Sova gets the Jet from behind, getting their point.
A little mini celebration there coming in from Lammy Snacks, as they're now up 6-1. They'll be going into the second half without a deficit, now guaranteed, and they can still extend the scoreline, right? The most they can get at this point is 11 in their first half, which would be devastating for KU Esports. Obviously, both these teams have fought hard to get to this point, but BU Esports doing a stomp, that would be so demoralizing, especially heading into the second map. And so remains to be seen if KU Esports can start to bring this back.
Oh, this is interesting for the Jet right here to use the operator onto A short. Now let's see if he is able to spot out 1, but looking at the setup of our attackers right here, they are eyeing out B long, so they might go and secure that, as they will be taking an easy 2k over there, but the Jet will be having a trade taking down Thittercorn. And look at this, trying to go for the flag with an operator, which is pretty interesting. Low here has the spike, so they now have all the luxury to just go and just place themselves in a favorable manner, since they have all the refrags to have. And I think Tay is just gonna go for the save here at this point, since low HP. This is a 1 vs 3, it's highly likely that can happen, but the gunshots are into Hookah here. Tries to hide and not get spotted, but takes the shot, and finally another point for our defenders.
You see there was kind of the opportunity for a potential couple of headshots, as all 3 of them peek at the same time into Hookah, but unfortunately not going to be the case. Those paint shells forcing Tay out of that position. So really good use of the utility from KU Esports. And that's exactly what you want, right? Either you want to be using that utility to just slow down the push into the sites, or you save your utility for those retakes. And so far, the retakes starting to look good.
Very looking good, and I like it how our Jet is pretty aggressive here. Takes 1 shot here, And let's see if another's gonna go into Food. Was able to reposition herself using that updraft dash onto you, Paul Sote. And Asoba is going to try and refrag Humble here. But look at that, Shock Dart is gonna hit and will be taking that kill. So low here on to the doors. Let's see, just trying to at least take a peek onto Shower's area. But again, the setup for our attackers here, Omen and the spy carrier is on to B and mid. So they're just okay. They will be committing A, I guess, at this point, since the Ticorn was able to go and teleport. But actually, no, this is pretty interesting. All right. So again, going back, Sova here is going to rotate their way onto A. I guess basically that's just an audio cue. For
Yeah, I mean, if you look at those positions, right, they're so far away from defending this A site. Reyna all the way over in spawn. You've got your Omen over towards the B site. That's so well played by BU
30
Esports. They know
seconds
exactly how to manipulate this map. That spike goes down. Obviously, Omen's low on
Spike
HP, but I'm not sure how much information they have in terms of how much damage they've done towards that Omen. But this is going to be another save round. And you're looking at 2-7. Not the best start here for KU Esports. I need to see a lot more utility being used to slow down these pushes, or even early aggression is fine. You've got 4 duelists, you might as well get a bit aggressive, make some space for yourself. You've got 2 flashes, 3 flashes technically, as Paranoia in the hands of Omen as well. And information that can be gathered as well. You send 1 boombot into Showers, just like that, you've got shower control. You can push in, and you can hold from a much deeper position, so that you know exactly where they're going to be going. And they also need to be more considerate of those rotates. Because BU Esports, they're doing such a good job going for those rotates. KU Esports, they're calling those initial pushes, but those rotations, the mid-round strats being called by BU Esports, are just impeccable so far.
True, and this is also the fact that we're starting to see the disadvantage of having 4 duelists in your lineup. Since you could have gone for a aggressive take here, since you have a lot of utilities to work with, and refrags are also possible for our defenders here. But again, defenders have the luxury to take their time, sure. But with a lineup like this is basically a bit of tricky for them, since once they use their utilities or their flashes, their defense, in terms of defense, is a bit tricky. But I think they will be capitalizing on this 4 duelist setup once they head on to the second half. So Humble 2K is going to use a boom bot this time around onto Hookah to spot out any attackers in the site. So drone is going to happen as well here. But look at this. The Jet is going to have a kill on 2B long, followed by Senorita here with an easy 2K. The spike is onto Fountain here. Lol, also a kill for himself onto Hookah area here. And to finish it all off, Senorita with that 3K onto this round, finally getting their footing.
There you go. That's a much better defense from KU Esports. They finally start getting aggressive. Jet and Phoenix pushing down towards B long, and that secures them around. Perhaps they can find a couple more rounds like that, 4 and 5. If they can get it within 2 rounds distance, that would be probably the best case scenario. Obviously, you want to bring it as close as you can, because that attacker side should be good for KU Esports. They've got all those duelists. They need to make it work. So as long as they can keep calling that aggression, keep getting those offensive picks, and just pushing BU Esports back, making that much space for themselves, they could get a couple more rounds here. As here you go again, a little bit more aggression coming in. Fox is wanting to push in towards bathroom. Lamy spotting with that drone, and there's the push coming in with the ult. Lamy is completely blinded, and that's such good teamwork actually. Paranoia comes in just as the ult comes in and pushes through the teleporter. Unfortunately, it was a little bit mistimed, so did cost him a little bit, but that's really good teamwork. And you can see the rotate coming in now, the spike's being planted, and the rotate's coming in from that B side. And it's going to take a little bit of time to get there, but they will get there nonetheless, as these are good traps set up as well by BU Esports, because Phoenix is about to get caught in mid. As well,
Ticorn is going to get 2K there with the judge, but that is going to be a triple for the Jet. Let's see, 2 versus 1 fight. The Ticorn here spots out by 56, and that's another good way for the defenders to end this round with their points. So far, as you mentioned, aggressive defense for KU Esports starting to really close in the gap, and they can force a 5-7 around here for the first half, which is good. And because they can, as I mentioned earlier, they can capitalize the 4 duelist setup when they are the attackers.
You can see basically their economy has been severely limited here as well, as you're seeing Phantoms coming out, Spectres, and the Bucky. Actually, it's going to be a Judge as well, and half armor for a number of players here for the side of VU Esports. So that 5-7 looking more and more likely, as unfortunately it took KU Esports a little bit of time to get into this and to start getting that aggressive peaks going on. But once they got into it, that's where you're seeing the success now. Tay just waiting around this corner, but look at that, 3 players posted in long. Senorita, are you going to be flashing out? What's going to be the play here?
So careful with the peaks right here, as Humble 2K will be taking down the Decorn, but Tay is going to have that trade and gets a double onto B Long, denying the threat that initially the Rays had with the operator. So they have a bit of space to work with here, but this is a 3 versus 2 fight. A side pretty free. Operator once again to be over onto the spawn, and Queen takes it down, forcing a 2 versus 2 fight. Tay is going to plant the spike here, and their positions can be into their favor here, as both the Cypher and Tay places themselves onto Shower's area. The good thing about Tay here being boosted onto that side is he has a lot of angles to work with here. So Queen once more onto Showers. Careful with the peek, takes one down, and this is a 1 versus 2 fight. Queen here looking very threatening, and as mentioned, with the angles at play, Tay is gonna take a 3K.
That's so unfortunate. It all crumbles at the very start there, as that first kill comes in. Phoenix peeks that corner without flashing Jet. That could have been all dismantled if the Phoenix finds that kill there onto Tay. Senorita just not expecting Jet to be that close, I think, and maybe probably expecting that flash to have worked. And so a lot of damage could have been subdued there. If Tay goes down there, that means Senorita survives, Humble 2K survives, and their Reina survives as well. That would have been the case. But you can see just how quick those dominoes can fall if you fail a kill like that, especially onto Tay, who has been quite impressive so far into this game. And now let's see on the defender side how well they can defend. They only need 5 rounds to go. As for the side of KU Esports, they've got 9 rounds to go, and definitely possible with their 4 attackers. So let's see how their duelists do.
Pretty interesting setup for B Esports here, as they stack onto B Long, but finding nobody onto the site. So Senorita here will be trying to get an entry towards Shower's area, and Labby will be taking 2K, however, make it a triple onto site right here, but will be shut down by Humble 2K. But this is a 4 versus 2 fight. Spikes in the hands of Rays can still go for the rotate, and take note, a lot of population coming into a site, and Bozo is basically going to finish it off alongside with Queen here, and this is again a good take for the side of B Esports.
It goes to show just how basically, right, you're seeing an actual lineup that's made for defending, and it shuts down so perfectly there. Looking at the attacker side, obviously you can be a spear, but you're looking at a shield across the entire map, and that shield, it doesn't matter how many times you poke it with a spear, it's not going to break. You need to be making your way around it. You need to be, I mean, you don't have too many choices with this current lineup. The information that they can gather, it's not much to work with.
Yes, agree. And of course, again, B Esports having this information-wide lineup with the Sova, and actually Sova, Omen, and the Cypher here. They have a lot information to work with here, so they will be planting the spike. But look at that Queen! Running while shooting, takes 1, make it 2 right here as she hides. Is it gonna be a 3? No, it's gonna be Tay for another 2K, and only Humble into U-Haul takes down Lamy, but they have information now, and Tay is gonna end this with a 3K.
Again and again, it's always down to Tay, isn't it? But Queen, those first 2 kills, yes, Queen. That is how you get started. That's how you defend. And just like that, it's a 4-10. Double digits now for the side of BU Esports. And it doesn't look like KU Esports really have any kind of way they can get around this, because the problem is, right, you saw it just at the very start of the round there. The cage gets popped there by the Cypher. So what can they do? Humble sends out a boombot. That is their only mode of information gathering. As soon as that boombot's gone, you can't push another site. You have no idea who's waiting in the other side. They can't fake. They don't go for fakes. So KU Esports, they were just stuck pushing into that position, and Queen playing perfectly around those smokes. That's a bit of a misplay though, as Foxes catches Queen just with his pants down. That was a strange situation. And Fox it's the Jets getting the work done so far.
But Tay is going to trade it off with Senorita, who plans to flank right here onto Fountain. Gets the Vandal here for free gun, and this is a 4 versus 3 fight. Take note that Foxes, who has been doing some work right here, is low on HP. Take note they don't also have a healer, another disadvantage of their lineup. So low here will be planting the spike that is favored onto U-Haul and Heaven, and so the rotations coming in from our defenders can also work into their favor. But here there's another as they take down D6 in the process. Tay and Bozo however are still onto B side. Pretty interesting here. The spike has been planted onto A, but they will be going for the save at this point, since again the Jet is low on HP alongside as Reyna. They can't really do as much here, and you would want to get a decent amount of weaponry come the next round.
That is exactly right.
The other side, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean,
the other side. Okay, that was mine.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly right. They have to go for that save. They do have some money still left in the bank, but save as much as you can, as Tay does get taken down there, still takes one down with him. And so they've got 5 rounds to go, obviously, in between them. So they've got a bit of space to work with. So yeah, they can go for the saves. That's absolutely fine for them. They don't want to be giving away rounds as well. It's good to see that they're being smart with their money. Queen should be selling that. Bozo should be dropping. It's an interesting buy up there. I'm still seeing half armor for Queen. There you go. Okay, now it's updated. So
yes.
This is going to be the best defense we've seen so far, as we're also seeing the Judge playing instead of Hookah. Such a difficult position to play against. And then, of course, that Operator coming out as well. And so this is going to be difficult times for KU Esports.
Alright, and of course Lamy was saying that Operator is also a huge amount of threat, especially when it takes down one flank or another. But here Theticorn just ready to really use the shotgun whenever someone tries to enter Hookah, which Humble is on his way, tries to at least anticipate to where our defenders are going to be at. So far, no casualties for the first 30 seconds of our game. Look at this. Theticorn might be going aggressively, but was not able to be spotted by Humble right here. Gets taken down from the behind, as Tay and Bozo will be having a kill on their own. Forces a 2 versus 5 fight. The spike is in their favorable hands right here. At this point, to me, they might go for the save here, but I think knowing that the spike is at B long, yeah, definitely gonna go for the save at this point.
Yeah, they absolutely have to, because they took so much damage done in that last round. Now going into this round, they've lost 3 players, and they're getting really close to that final mark, right? That's 11-5. You need to hold on to those weapons, because otherwise you're gonna be giving away the next round. That'll be match point for the guys in BU Esports, which is not what you want to see. And so, yeah, good call there from the side of KU Esports. Good call from you to notice it, and it will be the 2 players holding on to their Phantom and Vandal. And really, they haven't lost a single player in this round. BU Esports, Bind, totally their map.
Pretty comfortable, regardless of their positions, whether it's going to be an attackers or defenders, which is looking good. Because as you mentioned, there can only be one to represent their country, and I think BU Esports is making a statement at this point. So right now, again, looking at their weaponry, they are still going to possess what they have here for the side of defenders, and for our attackers, some will be taking some rifles up their sleeves. If I'm not mistaken, is this an Ares onto Humble?
Onto Humble.
Oh,
actually, it's a Bulldog out. Yeah, that's right.
It's a Bulldog.
You called it last second, so you're right. You got
Okay. I pulled it off. Thank you. But looks like a turn of events is going to happen here for our attackers, as they will be stacking onto B-Long here. This time looking at the corners, which they neglected to do onto Hookah. And they might have an idea that they are onto B-Long now, as utilities will be gathered right here, as Fox will be using the dash to reposition himself onto elbow. Tay, at the other hand, uses the teleport right here, Empress, to be utilized by Bozo as well. The Spiker is going to be taken down by Tay right here. Updraft dashes on to Tin Cans. Bozo and Lamy will be taking another kill of their own. Bozo is a bit of a killing spree at this point, as the defenders is basically going to have this retake successfully onto their hands. Match point for VU
Match point.
Esports.
That's right, match point, and I mean, good chance it's the last round as the damage that's been done to their economy there. KU Esports, they just don't have the agents to make enough space for themselves, especially in those post plants. And also, there's a bit of negligence over towards Hookah. No one clearing Hookah means that all three players can push their way in. The player getting caught as he tries to go for the plant side of the B site. That's such a bad time. Tay just walks straight in from the teleporter, finds that kill, and so KU Esports on their attack, they still need to remember they have to be defensive as well. This crossfire should spell the end as Boza finds the first kill, tries to make space. Unicorn. Oh no, that's a great one coming in. Senorita though, Boza still finding the kills. That's going to be the kill coming in for 56, and now 3 versus 3. This B site should be theirs, and it's going to be the flank coming in. Tay, of course, still doing the damage. The spike can't go down, but a nice shot there from Senorita as well. There's Lammy Snack starting to chime in. Senorita has to do it all in the 1 versus 2. Out comes the ult peeking in. They're going to double peek in the position. That should be it. And it's going to be 13-5. BU Esports take it in the first map on their map pick as we go into map number 2 for KU Esports.
This is just a good amount of momentum for the side of Esports right there, especially a good way to end this round, really. But it could have been a nice clutch for KU Esports. It's just that their positions, and again, they're basically playing with the map not in the best way that you would want it to be, since you would want to have at least one flank or one clearing, let's say onto B side. They go and stack long, sure, but at least they have one member to at least patrol Hookah for any information. Since they lack it onto their utilities, might as well get some information using one for their team. So that is one of the things that they have to consider for KU Esports. But again, this is best of 3s. They can, turn things around onto the next round.
That's right. It was as you said, most of the problems came from the lineup, and really that can be fixed just with a single switch out, right? Obviously, you had so many agents there. You had a Raze, you had a Phoenix, you had a Jet. You can switch out any one of those duelists for a Sova or the Sage. An extra Sage can be such a big deal, especially on Bind. But they must have had a plan to go with there on Bind, picking 4 duelists. Obviously, it didn't work. But we'll be heading on to map number 2 very shortly. I'm just wondering, is there a short break before map number 2? Flank, get me, bro. By the way, shout out to Flank. He is our stream director. Always thank the back end because they do a lot of the magic around here. Okay, so we're taking a short break. Remember, guys, this is Cyberathlete tournament for you guys. Cyberathlete Valorant Collegiate Invitational. Do stick around as we'll be back for map 2.
Clara, oh Clara, relay. Delicious memories, delicious memories. Clara, relay. Delicious memories, delicious memories. Clara, relay.
Audio Jungle.
Haven, as of course picked by KU Esports, and well, after what we just saw, hopefully we're not going to be seeing another 4 duelist lineup. Hopefully we're going to be seeing a much more appropriate lineup for Haven. Obviously, you got a couple of key picks. Most likely you're going to have your Omen and your Jet again. Jet can play such a good game on that C-Long, especially with an Operator, or a Cypher as well. So much information to be gathered, as well as to watch those flanks. Killjoy hasn't really popped up much during this tournament. I feel like CVCI started before Killjoy was released, and that's why maybe we haven't been seeing Killjoy. So just seeing the Cypher, understandable. As for everyone else, I feel like Reyna has been picked a lot in the collegiate scene, so expecting to see another Reyna pick, absolutely. You know, it's if you've got a player on your team that knows how to pop off and you can get those kills going, you know, it's not professional level. It's not at that point where Reyna is completely useless. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like the Reyna pick, it's a fine pick. You can work with it. So, yeah, the Omen, the Jet, the Cypher, the Reyna. For that 5th spot, perhaps a flasher. Hopefully, I'd like to see someone with the ability to flash. If not available, of course, understandable. They've got their own lineups, but I'm just concerned for KU Esports right now because of what we just saw. That 13-5, not really a score to be proud of. And granted, it wasn't on their map pick, but now it's their map pick. Now they have the opportunity to fight back and to make their way back into this tournament, into these lower bracket semis, and so they need to make it forward here as much as possible. They need to be bringing out that 3rd map. So in terms of the agent picks, you already heard us say it, and for what they can do, just please no 4 duelists. That's not going to work for you.
Indeed. And basically into the map that they've chosen, you do not need that much of a duelist at hand. You mentioned some of the lineups that they can mix and match for this round, but I'm also expecting to actually have a Breach to compensate for Flasher as their 5th spot, because Breach is basically monstrous right here, especially with the Rolling Thunder and the concussions that he has with him on his kits that can really help in either controlling a site or actually taking a site. And this is also pretty important, especially for K Esports, if they really want to force out 3rd map as you speak. And for them choosing this Haven, I'm pretty sure they have to be comfortable, as VU Esports were during round number 1.
That's right, because I mean, you're looking basically. This is the only map with 3 sites.
Mm-hmm.
So this really does come down to as well individual skill, because basically you've got 5 entrances that you need to be in charge of, and if you can't watch them as an individual, because as much as possible you want to be playing those agents that can make space, because the play isn't to defend against 3 people pushing into the site. Your play is to make space, to make room, and to create time for your teammates to rotate over so that you can have a fair fight. Because it's not going to be a fair fight when you're on that defender side. Obviously, it's an attacker-sided map. And right now, you can see the Jet mains, and their current average combat score. Tay, of course, at the top of the board there. Great KD, great combat score, and the econ rating as well, just brilliant. But those first bloods looking better for Foxes, so definitely getting into the into those sites and doing a really good job of entering. But Tay, all in all, a much more solid player. And so let's see what effect that's going to have here as well, going into Haven. And yeah, I mean, 3 sites, you need to be playing this as smart as possible. You can't have 4 duelists going down different routes because you're not going to be winning those fights out. And so, well, here you go. Here are the lineups.
Alright, this is pretty interesting now. At least we won't be able to see a... Oh, no. Please do not lock that in. Do not lock in that raise right here for the side.
Not like this.
Right. Not like this. This is basically a site that you would want to sacrifice at least one, since we were all used to having 2 sites only. So you would need a lot of controls or sentinels as much as possible. There you go. Locking in that stage. This is a lot more better line at K Esports. Good job. And for the side of the Esports, they've heard me. They heard me. I am going to see a breach with a double duelist setup again with the Omen and Sova here. This is also, I guess, a cup of tea for B Esports and having the Sova, since also information gathering is one of the essential bits. They are on the defender side first, so you would want to know where the attackers are setting up as early as possible to at least get your positions right in terms of actually controlling site or going for retakes.
Yeah, you called that breach pick perfectly. I'm not actually seeing a single Cypher across either of these rosters. And so, interestingly, I mean, Cypher can only really play a single site with all that information and has to play solo. So, I think it's understandable to not pick up the Cypher. Picking up that breach, that's well guessed by you, but we're actually seeing a single sentinel for the side of KU Esports, which can be that Sage. You know, she can wall off mid. That's such a good advantage to have, especially on that B site. But that's on the attacker side. They do have an extra life thanks to her, and heals as well. So let's see if that makes a difference here, because this is their map pick. KU Esports, they need to be confident going into this so they can force out that 3rd map.
Quickly stacking onto both A long and C long for both of our attackers here, but Tay's gonna completely shut down the Sage right here. So again, no heals for the early phases of our game, as Thiticorn will also take down the Phoenix. It's supposed to be the entry frag. Look at this, 56 is gonna have a trade here, taking down Queen, but will be taken down by Lamy in return. Thiticorn also will be taking Fox off the board, forcing a 4 versus 1 fight. Senorita will be covered up here with a lot of refrags, but Tay is good enough to take it down, going for the 1st round.
Well, there you go. Pretty fast round. BU Esports seem to still be in control of things, and they're comfortable to not upgrade all their weapons. We're seeing still frenzies in the hands of Tay, but that is going to be the Marshal coming out as well. Lamy can hold on to the frenzy. Of course, has the shock darts to work with as well. So yeah, it's a good bonus round here coming out from BU Esports. KU Esports, not the start they wanted, obviously, on the map, and especially considering the fact they're on the attacker side. They should have the advantage there. Take advantage of the fact that you're going to be having the bigger numbers depending on what side you go to. And just like that, great paranoia and starting things off. Thiticorn taking down Lul.
Beautiful paranoia, as you mentioned right here. Senorita will be taking down Bozo, but Thiticorn will be having a triple onto a long right here. So we're starting to see a bit of a problem in terms of how our attacker stacks up. A 56, nice attempt, but Lamy will be shutting 56 off the board. Again, another point for defenders. So again, as mentioned, we are starting to see the problem with how they set things up. Sure, they have a good set of lineup for the side of KU Esports, but the thing is, they are split in terms of their pushes. If you notice during round 1, there were people at C long and A long, which kind of reduces the amount of chance that they have in controlling a site. The second round that they had, sure, they stacked up A long, but they were paranoid away by the Omen of View Esports, and that basically just destroyed their initial plan in taking A. So once more, look at this time onto round number 3. They are gonna opt for a different site this time around. Fox, you're just spraying onto the garage, but it's not gonna get any casualty here. But 56, however, will be taking down Queen onto B, updrafts onto the boxes here. So this is a good position now for them to go for the plant. But again, forces a 4v4 here to even things out.
Yeah, I mean, you can completely smoke off a side, but you wouldn't be expecting Bozo to be pushing through a smoke with a judge, as Fox has just found Thittercorn. And just like that, they're actually getting the kills done here, as it is going to be a retake situation here for BU Esports in the 3 versus 4. And they're taking a bit of time to start going for this. They're probably waiting for a couple of peaks to come in, but Bozo's just been found. That should spell the end of this round. As unable to find this last kill, Lamy will find the one, but it's a 1 versus 3. And, I mean, they kind of go for the bite on the next round, so we can risk it, but Humble, great position, great refrag, and it will be the first on the board for KU Esports. So much earlier on in this map, getting their first point on the board, that's very important. They want that early momentum as quickly as possible.
True, and you do not want to give away a lot of gaps in terms of points like what we saw during our first round. And I like it how Humble is very sticky onto that middle side, hiding onto the boxes to not get detected by the recon bolt, which is nice. And again, the refrag was in success of the Sage. So right now, for the side of defenders, they just have to basically go for the retake, I guess. And here we have Thittercorn was able to spot out many people onto A, so this is information coming in from them. This is the Shadows to take down Sewers. 56, however, will be taking the breach off the map. Oh, this is interesting. Flashes in, looks away, but LOL is going to deny that fact. Humble will be walling off the tunnels over here for any pushes for our defenders. The drone, however, will be getting at least a bit amount of information to where the other attackers are at.
They're just trying to peek and poke her way in there. Bozo finding a double kill with a judge. How is that happening? How is Bozo still finding kills with this judge? I don't understand. Switching over towards the Vandal now in the 1 versus 2. Spots the player crossover, but it's going to be a great repeat there from 56. A headshot onto Bozo and a second on the board for KU Esports. And this is so much better than what we saw on Bind. And what a difference having a 1 less duelist makes.
See, this is why for dual setup it does not work, especially into bigger maps like Bind and Haven, which is good that they finally changed that lineup here. And of course, having the Sage for additional healing can also make a difference, you know, especially when revived. But we haven't seen any revive so far into our first few rounds, since Humble just got his ult ready for now. And here we have Queen early flash onto B, but only no one so far that was stacked. 56, however, dashes in to C site here, goes for the flash. A lot of clouds to be utilized here. Bozo will be taking gunshot here, taking down the Reyna. Queen for another trade. LOL as well. 3 versus 4 fight in favor of BE Esports in terms of numbers, but gun difference is to be seen here as well. Will be taking down Lamy as well. Tay though, triple, but Tay will be taking down 1. Humble will be reviving the Phoenix here for a 2v2 fight. Will be walling off the garage here to at least narrow the options. That is going to be a quad for LOL here. The Sage going to be like, that's my proud duelist right there. Tay updraft is not going to take Humble there, and Humble just utilizes that fact of inaccuracy, and attackers will be getting this round.
Survives on 50 HP. That was scary for a second, but KU Esports will pull ahead. We'll be up 3-2 now, and they have taken the lead away from our map 1 winners. And again, we're seeing those judges coming out. They seem to be utilizing the judge a lot more than other teams do so far. Those Phantoms, they got the Vandals, but that judge keeps making a cameo. It's like seeing your favorite character over and over again. Senorita sticking to the half armor there. I'm not going to be asking his teammate for a little bit more money to work with, as Tay straight away just pushing straight down C long. This is the information game now. Do keep in mind, 3 sites, that means you got 3 sites to defend, but that also is true when you're on the attacker side as well. Look how much information you can gather because of how big that map is. 56 straight through. My goodness, how is he back in towards spawn already? They know exactly where he is. He's completely blind around the corner, down to 42 HP. Another flash comes out, and down he goes. Every single flash used on a single jet there. That can be a strat as well, as Humble will be taking down Queen.
On the flip side, however, as you mentioned, a lot of utilities are to be used by the breach, but nonetheless, it did the job done. And Fox will be planting the spike onto the box here for C long, and Senior will just take control of City here. This is also another perk, having the covers, since it gives you at least an amount of time to position yourself at the same time. At least get a gist to where the opponents are at. But look at this, Thiticorn and possibly having the respective trades forces a 2v2. Take note that Fox is low on HP, has to get a kill. You want to make it work. The flash is gonna work on the favor of Bozo here, but Lol is gonna have that trade 1 versus 1 in favor of. Actually, no, this is a good fight though. Uses the cover, gets the defuse here. Hot Hands not
I'm gonna reach.
get it, but look at this. Lol though gets that kill from the smokes. It just means that he knows where the spike is planted, and that free fire is just basically some of the things that I can't do, and the reason why I'm just a caster.
I need this.
So no, I think I've seen you do it a couple of times before, but here we go into round number 7, as it will be the half buy coming in from the side of BU Esports. Let's see how much damage they can do with these frenzies, with these ghosts, and with this Bucky. We've seen them win rounds like this before, but so far, KU Esports, they're making it work. Those first couple of rounds, maybe they were just flukes, the ones they lost, because now they're looking pretty solid. And even though it's coming down to the 1 versus 1s, Tay just dashing in, finding the first kill. That's Humble down. That's the Sage down, and that's a big kill to find.
And with no healing it to right here, but looks like Bozo is gonna take another shotgun kill right here, taking down Fox. Bozo for the second, make it a triple. You know what? He's not gonna stop there. Bozo here just tries to go into the sewers. Finally replaces his gun with a Vandal right here. So 56 will be taking down the drone, but that is information now that they know where the jet is. 4 versus 1 fight. They're just having the luxury to wait for the peak. Gets actually taken down by 56 here, but now at least you have an idea to where again Jet's at, and this is I guess a save for 56 at this point, since the spike is in A site and it's pretty crowded right there, unless of course going a little bit cheesy right here and gets a 1 versus 3 clutch.
I mean, there's a possibility, but look at this position coming in from the breach just on the other side with the judge. Peeks out with the knife out, and he was looking the wrong way, so he has no idea. He just got peeked, I think, but there it is. Lamy taking down 56 on the back of a force buy. They've found their 3rd round, and it's now round number 8, and let's see if they can tie things up yet again. BU Esports, despite it not being their map pick, they're keeping the scoreline very, very close.
Rifles across the board for the side of our defenders here. Meanwhile, for our attackers, the Bulldogs and the Phantoms here, half armor.
Desperate buy.
At this point, basically you would want... I understand the logic behind this, is they would want to keep the gap into their favor. But at the same time, this could be very tricky, because if BU Esports wins this round, the economy will be a bit of unstable come the following round. So again, we are seeing competition here. Will be getting that omen there. They are stacking up onto mid, and I love it how BU Esports is just patient, not getting a bit of reactive into the noise that they made earlier. So 56 with the Blade Storm hovered onto C-Long, uses the smoke wrong direction over here, but look at Lamy takes 2, Senorita and 56 takes the trade of their own, forces a 3 versus 2 fight. Breach, however, is low on HP, but still gets Senorita down there, and again, this is where it goes. They are going to rotate from C-Long probably all the way to A. B is stacked up. They have to be very careful in rotating here. Refrags are possible, but again, that is a bit of tricky here. Alright, so both of our duelists making their way onto mid. Queen, Thiticorn. Oh, they're definitely planning a refrag at this point. Goes, let's see, 56 might try to go onto A link here to reposition. Phoenix Lol takes down the Thiticorn right here. Pretty interesting though, as to why
no repeat. That's so strange.
That is strange here, but regardless, 2 versus 2 can be in favor of BU Esports. Oh yeah, as mentioned, as Bozo takes down Lol onto Garage. There's no time to plant the spike. Actually, there is. Okay, plants onto A link. Rolling Thunder. The spike isn't planted. Dashes into reposition. Was blinded, but 56 still gets it. The refrag. Ooh.
Not gonna be there. Yeah, 56 with the triple. But they've tied up, that's what matters, and they've actually wrecked the economy there for KU Esports as well. They force-bought in that last round, and somehow I'm still seeing Phantoms coming out. They're still going to try and invest as much as they can. They've used all their money, so now you can see, there's the pistols coming out, maybe a couple of Bulldogs. armor coming out for Foxes, I'm guessing at this point. But it's not going to be a perfect buy. So, well, they'll bug up as much as they can. But the real thing here is BU Esports double AWP setup.
For C long and A long, pretty sure. And again, how they stack themselves up, pretty dispersed here. Bozo will be taking down 56. Again, this is not looking good since 56 would be making all the work here for the side of K Esports. Drone to be used onto Garage. The Tricorn will be taking 1, so they have their respective trade. But still, numbers are in favor of BU Esports since they did take down 56 early at this point. So this is another disadvantage of dispersed in their stack up.
Once they lose those two players very early on, you can see they start to struggle with what to do. You can see they've got Sage that's pushed all the way down to the A side. They have Omens just sitting outside of Garage, and now Phoenix all by himself making his way over towards the C site. He's going up against an operator in a minute, and he's got the spike. If he peeks this, he could. Oh no! Actually, the rotation call has been called so perfectly. Just as he starts to push down C long, Jet actually makes his way out of that C site. They're rotating through spawn. And Phoenix, he's got the space to work with here. As Senorita, great find. Tay goes down, and it's a 3 versus 4 just like that. They could do this.
Indeed, a lot of people
30
here
seconds
for
left.
defenders. Ooh, taking advantage of that hopping. Takes
Spike
it
planted.
down. Spike has been planted, however, takes a quick peek on the C long. Was able to spot out. Lul takes it down, and the Tricorn to end as well. Humbles position there onto the boxes. Fox right here is onto City. Looks like the quick turnaround is about to happen. The spike is going to be diffused. They're not going to fake it. And Bozo to just secure things off. The defenders will be having this round.
There you go. And there's so much time left on the clock there as well. BU Esports now really starting to get into the roll of things here on the defender side. They've taken that lead back. And it's going to be now round number 10. So they've got 3 more potential points to get. 8-4, obviously. Could happen as KV Sports now they're starting to slow down despite having the weapons. Again, look at their armor. They just don't have the money to work with, and they just keep using as much money as they can to get into these sites. How much utility do they have to work with in this round? I'm curious to see that as well.
At a certain point, I think they have to save, or else the economy will go wreck if the esports goes on a rampage at this point. And speaking of rampage, Queen here with that quick flash takes down Fox, but Senorita is going to have that trade. Senorita will probably cover up B-Link at this point, but actually no, not going to be doing that right now. They are going to stack up onto A. Bozo will be stopping that fact as 56 goes down. 4 versus 3 once again. You did mention earlier that they are starting to struggle whenever their numbers deplete. So they will be stacking up a B this time, but has to be very careful when peeking because refrags can be in favor of our.
Well, they do seem to have the B site at this point, although I say that it's only a little bit of space to work with. See. Okay, there it is. Great timing there from Lol to catch Lamy. See on top of the box, but it's still 3 versus 3, and it's a retake into the B site. One of the hardest sites to hold, because you got 3 angles to have to deal with once that retake starts to happen.
Lol, however, will be taking down Bozo right here. Just got out of the smokes. Humble as well with Horn here. So Tay might go for the save at this point. He is holding operator. Was able to spot out the Phoenix onto backside right here. Ooh, was able to take it down. A wall banged Lol. And yeah, as mentioned, we'll be going for the save at this point since you would want to at least get that operator working for the next round. She doesn't have much time. And to fight with an operator and 2 people, not really the fight that you would want to face.
Yeah, and gonna have to back away as much as possible in towards spawn, otherwise gonna be going down. Senorita couldn't get away in time. But you're looking at 5-5. This is a very competitive game. I'm curious what's going to happen once they switch those sides. That ice wall coming in from the stage can be super useful for KU. Forcing out that third map won't be easy, but there's definitely potential. But here we see again BU Esports, the Bucky in the hands of Bozo, always a scary prospect, and they have no idea. And so if they're planning to go for another A hit here, they're going to be in a little bit of trouble.
Need a drop.
I guess you can say that they are fundamental in terms of agents, but very cheeky in terms of the weaponry. And Bozo really working this out, getting a triple with a Bucky. It's something that you don't see every day, but Tay right here is in a very good position to spot out anyone from a window. Tricorn here, a bit of aggressive peek on to sewers. Was able to cover it to reposition himself, which is basically what you have to do whenever you're caught in a corner, which I did not do. But Fox though will be taking Queen down on to A side. Tay will be having that trade, taking 56 off the board. But that's pretty interesting though. Fox will be taking down Tay, but with health as well, so that is good. So 3 versus 4 now, favor of KU Esports. I guess we'll be walling down sewers, which is nice. Stitchicorn is now forced to go on to a long right here. Fast turn of events. Hunter's Fury to be used, not gonna able to at least get, but the spike carrier will be taken down by Stitchicorn. Will be shadowing off Heaven. Was able to spot out Lol onto a long here. Does not get the triple, however, as Senorita will be shutting it down. Again, this is another attempt to plant the spike, this time successfully. So now Bozo is going to rotate all the way onto, but
One
not
enemy
mistaken.
remaining.
Whoa!
Shotgun, but that was a shock dart, if I'm not mistaken.
How is that happen? I can't believe it lands right on top. Why did Raiden stay there right after she planted the spike? Senorita goes down. It's going to be another defuse. BU Esports, they hold on to the lead. That's such a weird position to just keep yourself in. Like, you plant the spike, it's like, you know what, I'm just gonna sit here, and that shock dart lands right on his head. And so, yeah, we'll be taking the lead back yet again. BU Esports, they have the potential for 7-5 here. Hopefully KU Esports, they can keep it close, bring it to that 6-6, and we have a real game in our hands.
This is also
Last
proof,
round before the switch.
to say the least for me, that Lammy really knows how to use this Silva. Really practicing to where the Reek's balls to be placed, to be shot at, and also with the shock dart, because that was just basically a perfect spot to shoot it at, into the spike, to where it's planted. Take note, you are doing it on a link. I've seen some of people do that, which lands perfectly into that spot. And it's just really commendable. It means he really spent a lot of time really analyzing to where these angles are at, which I am not good at as well. I'm hearing myself at this point. So 56 will be hovering the Blade Storm onto A long, up drafts in, plays on the box, will be spotting out the Omen right here. Gets paranoid, but this is a shotgun and a shorty, and Fox is gonna take down Stitchicorn in the process. But okay, other members right now will be planting the spike off. Lammy will be taking down a low here. Senorita as well with Bozo replaces the gun, pretty sure. 3 versus 4. Low health 4. Foxes. Not the best way to go out onto Heaven for K right there. Queen for the trade. Foxes taking down Lammy, 1 versus 3, 56 to finish. Attackers will be evening this out. Comes the second round. This is very competitive.
Switching sides.
Queen's play there, okay, 2 full magazines of shotguns and couldn't find a single kill. That's a really bad time. Queen needed to do a lot more damage there. There's only 5 kills right now, and so there you go. But it will be a 6-6. That's as close as it gets. And now let's see who has the better defender side, who has the better attacker side. As you can see, a lot of kills for sort of BU Esports, but Queen not getting the same kind of impact that we saw him get when we were on Bind could be a big difference here. Tay is only on 7. Those are the top 2 players you expect to see getting all those kills. Instead, is Bozo, Thitticorn, and Lammy getting all that damage done. And now they seem to have committed towards the C site. You can see every single player there is committed towards it. And just like that, KU Esports as well, they're pushing all across the rest of the map. Sage peeks straight down A long, and well, out comes the paranoia as the kills start to come in for the side of KU Esports.
Clearly see the difference in terms of taking sites right here. They stack it all up, but also keeping in mind with plants right here. But let me guess, I am corrected wrong here, as Fox will be taking 2, make it a 3 on to C long. All the more chances to secure this round. She has the spike right here at this point, looking at the corners, and Humble just to finish it off. This is a different pace now for KU Esports as they take the first point in the second.
And you can see the way as you said, BU Esports, right, the way they're playing together, the way they're pushing, that gives KU Esports a lot of confidence to go for those peaks. You can see them just peeking straight down A long, peeking straight into sewers down through B. They're not afraid to go for those peaks because they want to get that information early, and they know where to put those agents. Putting that Omen in the back of C and throwing out that paranoia, it gives so much space to work with as well. So KU Esports, in theory, so far, they seem to have a good start here on their defender side.
both were able to trade down to even odds out, having a 4 versus 4 fight. Uses the Leer right here. Nice attempt though, but Leer will be taking double. Make it a triple onto Garage while going into the smoke. This is we are starting to see a pattern for Bozo and the Omen for the team do this. Go into the smoke and get some kills, which is basically working for them. So Lammy here forced to use a classic gun difference basically shown, and the numbers. Was able to dig Fox, but not enough to take it down. And once more, the point is in the hands of KA Esports.
So far, so good. 2 rounds in a row on their defender side, and BU Esports, now they've got the weapons to work with. Let's see what differences occur now that they have actual rifles and actual firepower to make some space with. We need to be seeing Queen with those flashes initiating into those sites, the stuns coming out. I need a little bit more from BU Esports, because right now, I hate to say this word because it comes up a lot, but one-dimensional, it's happening over and over again, and I want to see them be a little bit more two-dimensional, three-dimensional with their plays, as it will be the first kill coming in favor of Tay, but there's Foxes immediately evening out the odds. Queen's there for another refrag, and that does mean that BU Esports, they're going to have the man advantage going into this round.
Finally listening to you, but look at this. 56 is going to deny that fact. The odds once more as the 3 Sticorn and the Sova. I'm saying, yeah, I'm correct. Is going to go on to C-Long right here. And Lol is not far off ahead. Going to place himself onto City. Check out anyone who tries go into the site. Was able to spot out the Sova though, uses the flash, but they will be hiding and planting the spike. This is a nice call for them since they don't really want to contest with a blind eye. Remaining. But look at the Sticorn taking down Senator Bull for the trade. Bozo is gonna have it, and 1 versus 1 is gonna happen now. So quick smoke on to the spike here as the Omen is going to wait onto the garage. Has to be pretty careful. We'll be getting onto the back end right here as Citycore will secure this point. At least closing it, the gap by 1 point. So we're starting to see a bit of change as you mentioned earlier. And if ever that they could do this again for this round and to even the points with an 8-8. This could be pretty interesting onto this point since this is a race and to ever get to that first 13 basically.
And I mean, yeah, it absolutely is the race, and you can see they've just brought it straight back, 7-8. That's a great scoreline. Thittercorn surviving on 69 HP, nice. And now Humble, oh, nice shot, start things off. Looking for the second repeat to come in. Queen will be finding Fox in return, but so far it really has been 1-for-1 exchanges happening here, as we've been seeing this at the start of every single round. The question always is, who gets that refrag happening first? Who gets into that position where they have the advantage? And again, it's going to be BU Esports finding 56, who got way too aggressive, pushing down mid after not really getting confirmation that there won't be anyone pushing. Lol, great kill. It's going to be the refrag and a second one as well. Thittercorn finding Humble, and it's now the 1 versus 3, as probably going to have to save at this point. Senorita still wants to go for the fight, will be going down. Bozo, great shot, and 8th on the board for BU Esports. Just like that, you're looking at an 8-8.
This is this is again a race for both sides of our teams, and with a scoreline like this, you can now we're starting to see one team or another becoming impatient as to how they take sides, as to how they become aggressive, especially for our defenders. Because if you see, they had the luxury, as Humble really started it off with a good kill onto A-Long. But the thing is, being a bit of impatient and aggressive can get you off guard, and that's what basically what Thittercorn abused during that fight. So again, they stacked up C-Long, but this time they should be pretty wary of their flank, since that's where Fox had a successful take during the previous rounds. And so here, a lot of smokes to be used and flashes as well. Bozo will be taking down 1 as well as Lammy here. This is a 5 versus 2 now, very different feat in comparison with the 2 previous rounds that we had. And look at this, just a quick peek, takes that tap, takes down 56 in a very timely manner, uses a shotgun to actually have that revenge into which Bozo was utilizing earlier, but numbers still matter, and Lammy takes down Humble in return, and 9-8 on the scoreboard.
we saw them do that initial C rush strat in that first pistol round from the side of BU Esports, and it didn't work out. They didn't have the firepower. They couldn't get into the position. They didn't have the amount of utility they needed. Now that BU Esports have everything to work with, they can now use the utility properly. They can wait for those fights to come in. Once the peaks come in with those rifles, they're just winning on pure aim. And so BU Esports, they're getting that confidence back again. Look at that Humble straight away, has to back away as one blind completely displaces the operator. And again, it's going to be BU Esports presses over towards this A site. And I'm starting to believe in BU Esports again. It's getting a little bit closer.
Closer indeed. And I still like it how patient that they are at this point. But Fox and Humble is going to get 2 away from BU Esports right now. There's Operator. This is a good position for at this point. But Queen is not going to go and peek further because they know that KU Esports has the Operator at hand. And you don't really want to get sniped away and to further slimming the chances of winning this round. So Low's just gonna wait for this wall to down, and as the other members slowly hovering up into the middle side of our map, uses run it back. Low, this is basically information gathering at this point. Flashes in, tries to go for the corners here, spots out the breach, but now that's an idea. So Queen here going into the corners as the operator will be over there, but not in time as Ami will be taking 2k. Foxo will be shutting it down. Bozo in, taking 1 behind. Get a 2k for Bozo, not really stopping himself from getting all those kills. This is a 2v1 situation. Senorita onto B Lake. Has to be very careful when peeking because refrags can happen. Uses the covers to at least narrow down the options. But you know what? Bozo's gonna end it with a 3k. A beautiful peek into the smoke and 10-8 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, it's double digits yet again for BU Esports, and KU Esports is trying to slow down this defender side, unable to really deal with this aggression coming in. You can see they're trying to get aggressive with their defense. They're pushing down because that's what was working on Bind, right? But you don't have 4 duelists this time. You can't do that again. You're getting into positions where there's 2 ways to push in towards mid, you know? There's 2 ways to push into almost every position on this map. So basically, once they make their way in, they still have to worry about their flanks, even when you're trying to lurk on that defender side. And KU Esports, they just can't seem to be able to do it. As well as the fact that Bozo is just really hitting his shots so far. The kills are really starting to come in for the side of BU Esports. But just as I say it, KU Esports, they get the advantage.
They're a bit comfortable for KE Sports in having the fact that, oh, okay, there might not be any attackers here on 2A, so might as well go in aggressive. But you know what? Tay is going to deny that fact, taking down 56 on the sewers. So that was actually a good peek for the Bitcoin, but it's not enough to save his life as 56 is going to take him down onto it. Bozo, however, and Lamy here on B. They don't have the spike because the spike's at window. Lamy, though, will be taking a trade here. 1 versus 1 fight. Clutch is possible, but take note, since the Jet has the spike, all 56 has to do is just be wary of the corner. I'm not sure if that was a misplay on the shock dart, but you know what? 56 is gonna get that kill anyway.
He shot it there into the bottom corner at lower mid, which is fair enough. Trying to do a little bit of damage to reveal someone's position. But well played there by KU Esports. They're keeping the scoreline close. That's 4 rounds in a row though for BU Esports. So KU Esports, they can't allow that kind of momentum to start happening again. They need to get back into this game right now. String together 2 rounds, you're straight back into this, and you can keep this game close. Otherwise, you're gonna run out of options. You can see right now we're seeing a Vandal and a Phantom in the hands of 2 players with no armor, basically half armor. Sorry, for KU Esports. So that's not really ideal either. As well, that's a long range fight to have, and a bit of damage has been done, but not enough to be too pleased with that, as Tay, completely blinded, has to back away. Lol, great shot, finds the spike, drops inside the smoke. The kill's going in both ways.
Ooh, lots of trades for both sides of the team. 56 was able to spy out Queen onto Garage. This is information from other players. Uses a slow orb. This is a nice play coming in from the stage to delay, and he pushes for standing. Queen, though, is not going to be able to take down 56, as 56 is going to at least, if not mistaken, that's a 2k for. But getting back right here, Bozo is going to take Lol, who tries to flank onto City, and 1 versus 3 fight. It's possible, but there is a slim chance, a very slim chance, it could work for Bozo at this point, basing on how he's positioned. He's walled off, tries to look at a corner, but not gonna spot out that Sage. And Sage also doesn't really have the ID. So is in the area, so might as well go for the save. Has to be very careful in going out of garage though. What is still taken down by 56 for a 3Ks. Again, you do not want to be complacent as much as possible. Whenever you're at least trying to save yourself off, because we are seeing this kinds of mishaps where they don't check corners, and this applies to both sides of the team.
Yeah, that was not great. That was not a great save there from Bozo, but well done to KU Esports. They brought it back into the 2 versus 2. Sorry, the 10 to 10, and well, okay, why am I still seeing half armor there for Foxes? Please buy. I mean, to be fair, it's Arena. Can go for the full heal regardless. Trying to save a bit extra money can kind of make sense. It would be bad to go down to a phantom headshot though. That would be very, very disappointing as they go for that mid play here. BU Esports trying to take control of B, and there's no one over towards that B side actually. KU Esports, they're very comfortable to just give up that B site, just play for the retakes. As they're getting a lot of information to work with. They don't want to leave the spike behind this time either. As Senorita just called Thitticorn pushing down C long, and just like that, they're going to be on the back foot. And as I say it, of course, it's going to be equalized. Maybe I shouldn't say stuff, and then it'll actually be true.
That's good. But
Every
going
time.
back right here, they are going to rotate onto A. Again, has to be peeking. Sova is in boxes again. Humble is gonna take down Tay. Uses the slow orbs, but will be taken down by Lamy, who was waiting there. And that was a actually good refrag. 3 versus 2 in numbers in favor of B Esports, but the spike has been planted for both Long Heaven and Sewers potentially. So Lol here goes in toward and flank towards A site. So just waiting for at least someone to go transfer themselves to Heaven. That's not going to be the case. And him being alone doesn't want to... You don't really want to have that fight where in numbers are in your opposing team's advantage, as well as A-site is heavily secured in most of the angles here. And at this point, this is going to be an 11-10. Still a very close fight for both of our teams. But you can clearly see the difference of how these teams play at when they're attackers. It's just that, you know, B Esports really know how to keep their aggression coming in, despite the fact that they kind of neglected their flanks in some of the rounds. If they know that it works for them, it works for them.
That's right. They don't really anticipate a lot of the peaks and a lot of the corners that people seem to be hiding in. Which has been a problem a number of times, but the good thing is they're getting players into positions where they can get those refrags going as well, while keeping themselves basically safe. So I guess they can use that towards the end, but obviously you don't want BU Esports to be losing any players regardless. And still, KU Esports continuing with the aggression, but this time it's going to pay off. Foxes will be fighting Tay, and we'll be able to back away into the side. So that's a free kill for him, and a great way to start the round off here for KU Esports.
Uses the drone to anticipate any people onto the garage, which was able to spot out Lul there onto the city. They got the spike. They might rotate from A here, but Fox is going to deny that fact. Lamy here, make it a triple as Thitticorn also gets taken down. I like it how the game sense of Foxes here, but Queen's just going to deny that fact. 2 versus 4, but still that's a big casualty. Queen, though, is making a bit of a progress of his own, dwindling the of KU Esports. 3 versus 2 now. 56 still hovering the Blade Storm on to Sewers. So Senorita here into the corners of the garage for any potential attacker who tries to go in. They got... Bozo just went to mid to get the spike, and as anticipated, they will be rotating towards A. And the Blade Storm hovering works off for Bozo as he takes down... as 56 takes down Bozo, but the refrag though from Queen takes a triple. This could be an ace if it works on to Queen's favor here. Takes a quick peek onto middle side, but considering that Queen was running, I'm pretty sure that both of them heard Queen running towards C long.
Exactly right. And oh dear. Well, that should be it. That should definitely be it. Oh my! I thought he was gonna whiff, but there it is. 11 to 11. KU Esports. They bring it back yet again. They're really struggling, fighting hard to try and take this map. And the money, it just keeps getting damaged over and over again. Somehow, KU Esports, they can still buy into this, and so can BU Esports. How is that? Somehow their economy is like a rubber band. It just keeps bouncing back. And you can see Bozo and Lamy right now. They've got 23 and 22 kills apiece. That's a lot more kills than the side of KU Esports. But BU Esports, they've been a lot more successful in those saves. So it kind of makes sense in that situation. But so far, across the entire board, it's pretty neck and neck.
And you can really see the KU Esports. This third map right here, and again, we mentioned that Valorant teams are one of the best so far, and they're just basically showing it off right now, as this is a very different feat in comparison with game 1. So the spike is planted right here. Fox is gonna take that K into that fiasco. Meanwhile, here cover. This is actually the Omen. Delays any retakes for defenders. Regardless, look at this, 3 versus 4 favor of the defenders here. So this time they know how to utilize their utilities pretty well in a timely manner too. And 56 tries to go for the flanks here onto middle. Will be spotting out. Ooh, actually no, was denied early by his
player standing
there. And Lamy though will be taking a triple, forces a 1 versus 1. This is the recon dart to detect 56 right here. This is going to shock darts in, and again that's another for Lamy with a successful shock dart, and that's a quad. Their economy is all the way match point for BU Esports. I'm liking Lamy. It makes me want to use Soba right now.
Isn't like Lamy a food or something? Lamy snacks. Lamy
I guess.
Nemak? Something like that. I don't know, but it sounds like right now I'm craving it just a little bit. It sounds good.
I guess it's some chips.
Is it chips?
Locally? I guess.
could
You know,
go
let's
chips.
search it for later, but
Thai food is so good. Just saying, BU Esports, KU Esports, if you want to invite us over, I bloody love your food. Anyway, it is going to be a split over towards the C side. It seems you can see players make their way in towards Garage and towards C Long. And again, all on his lonesome, going to be the Omen sitting inside of that C site.
on the touch right here. Oh, was spotted! Fox right here. Bozo's gonna take that Senorita on to be utilizing the numbers advantage. Goes into C Long, gets a lot of one-way clouds right here. Shrouded step onto the box. Will be planting the spike tape for any information onto City. Pretty sure that they would know it at that point if they were running. Goes into the smoke. So more spots. 56.
Player standing.
Whips a bit. Fox is gonna take down Tay here. Forces a 1 versus 3 fight, but luckily the spike is planted though. Uses the wall, and his facilities are at play. Managed to even again the points out for KU Esports, and we're going on an overtime.
Yep, that's going to be the play. Overtime it goes. And BU Esports and KU Esports both need to find both rounds here on each side. You only get 1 round per side. And so, well, it's not sudden death, but it's 2 chances basically. And so let's see if they can manage it here. The first to 14.
How can the 2 chances pop off them? Both of them were alternating the points at right. But again, it worked in the favor of both sides of the teams, which led us to the end game. And if I'm not mistaken, I think end game is only only 1 point or only 2 chances. You know, I'll be corrected later. But right now, BE Sports will be the attackers still, and KU for.
You can see the pause. It's been called right now. I think it's called because it's supposed to be 2 rounds as a tiebreaker. I don't think it's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And not only
2
one,
rounds.
right?
Yeah, it should be first to 14. That's generally the case, unless this tournament has separate rules, which is fair enough. Because you can see there, it only has 1 round.
So, yeah, they're autonomous enough to do so. And yeah, quick pause is gonna be called right here. But man, this is a very different feat in comparison with round number 1. Things are evened out, and the fact that they're alternating points here is something that you have to take into account for K Esports, because there was a time where it was 10-8 favor of BU Esports, and the fact that they were able to even those 2 points out, and which led us to here, is basically a mental, capacity at this point. Because usually when we have long games like this, impatience is gonna come out. A bit of a greediness or cheekiness is also gonna come into play. Some are gonna go solo, But this is a reason why they're having good spots here. They managed to how do you say this? Not go into temptation and just go and still play at their best, which is good for both sides of our teams. But there has to be a certain end point to this, and to me, this is if ever BU Esports win, it's not gonna be like a disappointing loss for me for the side of K Esports because they managed to make it into here.
I can see the chat happening right behind the little logo in the bottom left, and they're just asking them to wait a little bit longer, which is fair enough. You want to have the best strat available to you, and maybe someone's having a bit of a problem with their internet or whatever
No
else.
overtime. We won't have an overtime.
No overtime, so
It's a sudden
it's
death.
just straight up end game. Good
Yeah.
grief. Okay then, well, that's a scary prospect for both these teams, considering it's been going back and forth. Well,
And
let's
you have to
see.
take note during that back and forth was always BU Esports first. So if they get this round, it's gonna be their game. But nonetheless,
And the
as I
series
mentioned,
as well.
yes, this is not a disappointing loss for K Esports. Imagine 12-12. I mean,
Especially after a thrashing on the first map, where you should be discouraged and you should be demoralized. Still bringing it back, that's that shows good mental capacity.
mhm.
So, well, there you go. And okay, looks like they are ready up, which means we'll be seeing the countdown timer begin, and we'll be going into the last round of this game, and we might be seeing a third map, or we'll be seeing this series end right here and moving on to Storm Trees versus Emerald.
But let me ask you, Jaeger, for the winning conditions for both sides of the teams, what do you think K Esports can do to actually win this round? Since in terms of retakes, they're pretty good at it. That's why they've been keeping the alternate points from 10 up to this point. So.
Well, what has been working out for them is when they're getting aggressive on that defense, they've been pushing in towards spawn, and they've been getting a number of kills. They can get those initial kills going early on. What they need to be doing is, if they're going to be going for those pushes, they need to be playing defensively. They need to make sure that when they get that kill, it's not getting traded. They get that kill and they can dash away, or they're getting the information and they're keeping quiet and they're not getting caught. Because as long as they keep themselves in a safe position when they go for those lurks, then they can easily find these kills and not get into danger immediately, because we're seeing in so many times they're going to get too aggressive, they'll push into mid, they get too, as you say, complacent, and suddenly they're getting double or triple killed by members from BU Esports like Bozo, who is just waiting for that kind of a lurk. So they need to be keeping safe while they're going for those lurks and keeping going for those retakes, because as you say, it's one of their best strengths. And just like that, they've just lost the first player.
This is also one of the strengths of Esports right here. If you notice from the previous rounds, they are stacking in and just go for it. Now they are going aggressively, scatter themselves onto garage and mid, and waits until they deplete the members of K Esports. This is very situational. They didn't do this during the previous rounds that we had, but the fact that they are able to play along with the map here is also a good advantage for BU Esports. But 56 is going to take down the Sova away off the map, so this could work for K Esports. But denying the fact here, as Queen takes another kill for their team. Queen spots at the stage there just in time for the wall. The timing is unlikely for the side of K Esports. Ever Lul for the flash, whips it out, and Bozo's just finished the series here. Congratulations to BU Esports for taking 2-0 for this match.
That's right, lower brackets have been decided just then and there. BU Esports will be going through, and we've seen the brackets. If we can pull that up again, in case you guys want to see exactly where they're going to be going. Obviously, it's not going to be updated, but it's going to show you exactly their course line and where they are now. So, give it to me, Flank. Where's that? Okay, never mind. Just show us our faces then, that's fine. But yeah, basically they've just gone through from the lower bracket semifinals, or that was the actual finals. So there you go. And in two maps, on their own map pick and on the enemy's map pick, did take them to overtime. But that is a formidable team to be playing against. And seriously, well played there. There you can see, here are the brackets so far. You can see at the very bottom there, you've just had the semi-finals done, or actually the finals done for the lower brackets. And then we'll be heading into the next. And if you're curious what we're going to be casting next, of course, it is going to be Stormtree from Taiwan versus Emerald from ID. And so, ID is Indonesia, in case you know that. So, do keep that in mind, as we will be taking a short break before match number 2 for today will begin. So, do stick around. Thank you again. Remember, this is the Cyberathlete Valorant Collegiate Invitational. Do stick around. We'll be right back.